Hey everybody. Hey, thank y'all so much for joining us tonight and for watching our film called Today Will Be Different. We hope it gave you a decent look into just a lot of people's lives that we work with on a daily basis. We're getting all of our ducks in a row, but we are thankful that you're here and thankful that you tuned in tonight for hopefully another Q&A. I know we did this a few months ago. And yeah, we really enjoyed being able to answer some questions on the spot that people had about the video and just about things that we do and what Urban Purpose does just on a daily basis and even throughout this year specifically what it's looked like. So yeah, we're thankful for you guys joining in. We will keep it rolling.
Yeah, let's hopefully we get some questions going here soon. If y'all have got any, be sure to, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get my computer rebooted. It just completely wigged out on me right in the middle of everything. But yeah, for those of you that are on here with us, we hope you all enjoyed the film. And so hopefully, like our hope for the film is that it's, yep, same problem.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, we're getting things squared away. So yeah. Our hope for the film really was to show you the struggles that folks on the street go through, so we can become more empathetic to those struggles. Like, it's easy to judge from a distance. It's easy, to make judgments while we drive past someone, while we see like mistakes and repeated mistakes being made on a consistent basis. It's easy to look at that and be judgmental. And so, yeah, we wanted to create kind of a picture of what they struggle with, so we could help people become more empathetic. And so, yeah, hope y'all have some questions. Y'all can start. I see some folks that I know. I'll start calling you out, and hopefully y'all start asking us some questions here soon. I know there's a lot of y'all on here. I'm seeing the eyeballs, and I know some of you that is chiming in telling me are watching with us. So we will get some questions going hopefully soon. Rachel, what while we're waiting on some people to get talkative, y'all were much more talkative in the banquet, like out of the gate. But yeah, so like Rachel, I'll ask you some questions. So what did you think? I think you were skeptical of like this project early on. Mm-hmm. And not to put you on the spot too much, no, but maybe talk about that. Like, why were you skeptical and what were you happy about in the way that it turned out?
Yeah, I think that my skepticism probably came with just knowing, and obviously we all know, so it's not just me saying that I know this, but just knowing that these people that are a life that we are portraying, these are like our friends. These are my friends that we see on a daily, weekly basis, that we know this is what their life looks like. We know that they wake up and unzip their tent in the morning and they go to the Sitco and they go buy a beer, or they go to a meal line and they go hustle, or they go scrap, or they go try to go to day labor for a few times, or all of those things. This is not just a movie. It's not just a thing that we made up of like, wow, look at how sad this would be. Look at how bleak this would be. Look at what it looks like to have like no hope day after day after day. It was like, no, these are real people and these are real situations, and they're real tents under real bridges and in our city. And that to me was it was a really like fine line to stay on one side of not trying to show not trying to flaunt what a lot of our friends' lives look like, but to try to express and explain not what they look like day in, day out, but more so say, this is the reality, and it's not because they choose to live like this because they think it's fun, or because it's like, I would rather be here than be in a home, or I'd rather be here than be with family, or I would choose to do this. Like, I think that can be a thought if like, why are you choosing to do this? Why don't you go get a job? Why don't you choose to get yourself out of this? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Like, that thought process can, I know, go through so many people's heads, and can for sure mine too from time to time. But when you know people and you know the trauma they've experienced and you know what they've struggled through and you know their daily war they fight in their mind to get high or to not get high, to drink or to not drink, to make this good decision or make this bad decision, it's not that easy and it's not that simple of an answer. So that was a long answer to that question.
We've got some questions starting rolling
nice.
in. So,
Perfect.
Yeah, somebody asked about how many rehab stints it takes for someone to get clean. And so that's a hard question to answer. I do remember, a few years ago we did a video on mental health care. And Stash is trying to get me to look at the camera. So we did a video on mental health care. And we're talking to one of the main folks over at UAB that deals with a lot of this. And he was talking about, I know it was around like 7 or 8 that he was talking about that it usually takes kind of in their research and what they've seen. And so I don't know if Jim or Rachel have any thoughts on that, but that's not a far-fetched number. Mm-hmm. Definitely multiple times. I don't know that we know anybody that went once and it just clicked and everything was great. But it's usually a multiple time thing, 3-4 times. And on that subject, somebody asked, who are the rehab partners that we use now? And so I'd say the 3 main ones in town that we've got good relationships with. In the video, we use Brother Brian in the front of their building. And so they're great. They do a lot of good work. Brian Keene over there, somebody I've known for a long time, and then Jim and Rachel have gotten to know. And yeah, he's awesome. And they do really good work. It's a men's shelter and rehab program in downtown Birmingham. There's Royal Pines that does some good work for men, and then the Foundry for men and women. They're kind of the 3 main ones that we work with.
Yeah, something I wanted to jump in on and answer about the rehab stints and even like the question Kat asked. I had a question about how many people you're working with in the counseling rehab cycle. Something I think that was important for me to learn, and I learn it like more and more every day, was that I feel like one of the reasons that we talk about how rehab has to, it's not a one-time thing typically, is because rehab isn't just the answer. It isn't just the ultimate. So even in this video, the point was not to say, hey, we got you rehab, you're going to be great for forever. The point was to say, hey, this is literally a step. It is a step in this direction that we hope to walk with you with, in this like road we want to walk with you on for a long time, because it's going to take a lot more than just going to rehab. So even when I think of like the number of people that we're working with kind of in that process, I say they're the one person we're working with that's been to rehab, I don't know how many times, like
probably in that 7 to 8 range.
Yeah, I was about to say exactly what Mark just said. And I think he has honestly showed me a lot of what it means that, like, yes, rehab gives you a lot of tools and a lot of things that you need, but if you let that be your end-all be-all, then you will probably go back to using, not because you want to, but because that was just it, and life doesn't just stop there. It, like, keeps rolling after rehab. And so that's one, but they're kind of all over the place.
And one thing I kind of want to say on that is, I remember one of the guys she's talking about. I remember years ago, I have like a vivid memory of Jim calling me and telling me that he relapsed out of his first stint in rehab, and that he had come out, gotten a job. I remember that phone call from Jim. I remember I was in the backyard of my house blowing leaves. And that's how, and it shook me up, because I think my perspective back then was just so like, how did this happen? And thought of it, and just kind of ashamed of it now, but thought of it in terms of like failure. And maybe, did we fail? Did he fail? Like what happened there? And just now coming to a place where definitely not being flippant about somebody relapsing, but just to know that like a rehab stint and then relapsing and then going back is not failure. Like, it's a part of a process. And so if that person's getting high every single day, and they go to rehab and they're clean and they have a stretch of clean time, and then they have a relapse, and maybe they use for a little while and they get it back together, and whatever, there's a cycle and they go back to rehab. If the amount of times they're getting high is becoming further and further spaced apart, like that's a win. And it's a part of the process. It's not just a clean, like we get this taken care of, kind of like what Rachel was saying, like we get this taken care of and it's over and it's done. And if things go wrong, it's failure. But it's a part of the process, because like I think we've got to look at things and how we view addicts and addiction and people on the street and people that make these kind of mistakes. Like think about our own lives and our own mistakes and our own failures and our own sin is just not laid out there for everyone to see like theirs is. But like we still do it, right? I mean, I'm 38 years old and still trying to figure out how to not be like a, it's PG live Q&A, but figuring out how to not be a jerk or how to be patient or there's all sorts of things that I'm still growing in. And so it's just not played out in front of everybody and super destructive for everybody to see. And so, but think about that for them, like they're growing and they're learning and they're, And so I know I keep saying it, but it's part of that process. Yeah. So
I've got a question.
All right.
What is Urban Purpose's approach to working with people? How do they see the world compared to others that are trying to help people in our area?
Yeah, I mean, I can start. I think Rachel probably has I know she's got a great perspective on this, and I'll chime in. But yeah, just seeing.
You probably didn't hear my question, by the way, because the mic's over there.
Oh, so Stosh is he's the genius behind the video you just got to see. But he asked a question of just kind of how does Urban Purpose see the people that we work with and approach them, and how do we see the world? And I think like the lens we want to see the world through is that we're all equal and we're all like we're on the same playing field. And so when we go to the compound or we go to a Sunday meal, even though like we're providing a meal or we have that space for them to come to, trying to level it out where it's just friends gathering to hang out. And it's even. It's not, I've got something to offer you because you're pitiful and need my assistance. And I think that's the way a lot of missions comes across, the way a lot of local missions comes across. Me personally, I'll get on a soapbox, but I want the term local missions to just burn and go away forever. Because I see it more as like it's not just people to go serve. It's let's go be their friend. Let's walk with them. Sure, we have some things to offer, and we've got resources, we got those things. But if we can kind of tear down a little bit of that, I've got this thing for you that you need, and kind of start. It just comes from a posture. It can come from a posture of looking down on people and to really. And I think Rachel's done an amazing job at the compound, like setting the tempo there. And our vision there for that. But just to level that playing field. So it's not as much, I get it, we still have to use words like volunteer and volunteers and serve and those things, and they're not bad, but really create a place where it's not as much that. It's just, this is a place where we gather and friends gather, and the person from over the mountain area and the person that lives on the streets is just coming to watch a movie together or just coming to have dinner together, and not like friends do, because that's what we do with friends. And I think if we start approaching people as friends and not somebody to just be pitied and served, it can really change the game and how they see themselves. And I don't even want, I started almost to use the phrase like in their long-term success, but also like I think we see things not just through a lens of success versus failure. That if I know this person and they know that they're loved, in a way that they've never been shown love before, and they never get it together like we would define getting it together, that's still a win. And like we're still doing good work, and it's still a part of our vision and our purpose. And they're just as valuable as me and Rachel, and they're Jim, and they're just as valuable as the guy that goes to work and becomes an electrician and has a family, and it's the great story. The guy that literally gets drunk every day under the bridge, he's the same.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit on that too. I know Mark shared a lot that we believe, and I think it's very true. And yeah, I think just to give a specific example that I think even just today we were at the compound for hangout time, and there's a guy that's been coming around for a while now, just since we've reopened from COVID, and he has just gotten so comfortable in the place, and it's really awesome, so sweet. He comes and he'll bring his like bag that has a checkers board in it. He'll open it up and he'll play, and we've had some volunteers come and play with him, and he's just great, super kind. And today he was asking about taking a shower, and I was about to explain to him, like, this is more details than you need to know, but I'd moved the towel somewhere else, and anyways, in my mind, I was like, oh, I need to explain to him, and he was like, Rachel, I got it, I know. And in that moment, I remember being like, oh yeah, he knows, like, he belongs here, like, this is his place. And I think that's what I think about when I think about how I want to approach people, is like, I want them to know where the towels are. I don't want to, I don't want it to, like, when our neighbors come over, they know where the cups in the cupboard are to get water out of our fridge. Like, it's not, I don't have to tell them, hey, Becky, the cups are in that cabinet right there. She just knows to go, and she knows she's always welcome to get a glass of water. And that's how I felt about this guy today. I was like, oh yeah, I don't need to tell you these things, because like, this is your place as much as it is my place. And so I think that was just a example that came today, but there's 1,000 of those people that take out the trash, that wash we have one girl that always washes the dirty towels for me if they pile up, and she knows where the detergent is, and she knows how to do it, and she folds them, puts the towels back, and just having a place that they feel that and not even me too, like, we all feel like we can contribute to and take part of, because it is our place, not my place, not Urban Purpose's place, it's our place. And that's really been one of the biggest impacts for me that COVID has made on our place as a whole, is that we can't have that freedom that we had for the last few years. We've had to restrict that more than normal, and that has created a level of separation that's been really detrimental in some relationships, and are having to be rebuilt, because already the homeless community feels like the outcast. They feel like lepers. They feel like we can't come close to them, and now you have the 6-foot barrier added onto that. And so we have to spend more time, more intentionality, more conversations, more coffee, more movies, more football games, all of that, to let people know, like, we're still here. We have not left. Our world looks different right now, but we have not gone anywhere. And yeah, somebody asked a question of, like, how do we connect with the folks on the street, which I thought was a really good question. And I think for a long time at the beginning of Urban Purpose, and we still do this from time to time, but it was more so Jim and Mark going out and meeting people, because they were super new to this and didn't know where people stayed and didn't know the ropes and all of that. And I would say over the last 11 years, and especially since I've been around, there is, now that we have like a home, like we have a base downtown, that we'll still go under the bridge and we'll go to these places and pass out meals, and we'll give hygiene kits, or we'll do all of those things, but everyone knows where we are. And so most of the time it is our Sunday meal that people first meet us at, and then from there, like the video kind of showed, it really is like a ripple effect. It's like, oh, I felt cared for, I felt loved, and there's a place I can go and take a shower, and then from there it just builds and builds and builds, and then it becomes like this guy I was just talking about with the towels. He came to a Sunday meal, wanted to come and wash his clothes because he hadn't washed his clothes in a while. He was new to being homeless in Birmingham, and now he's been here every Tuesday and Thursday since we reopened. So it really is like an amazing ripple effect, and I think that's an incredible place for volunteers to start too, if they're interested in being a part of a relationship, is going and just meeting somebody, like giving them a fist bump or an elbow bump, or across the way high five, whatever you're comfortable with. Just talking to somebody and letting them know that you're there, and telling them a little bit about yourself. I think that's a huge part in the relationship process. Those are the last couple questions I saw.
Yeah, somebody asked about volunteers, and it sucks, like with COVID, because like a lot of our opportunities have been like pared down, and so we still obviously do the Sunday meal, and it's just, it's not as great as it used to be. Just we're doing to-go boxes and masks and distance and the whole deal, and so like we obviously we hadn't missed a Sunday in going on 11 years, which we're proud of that, and don't plan on changing that anytime soon. And so COVID's not going to throw that for a loop, but it's not like the fellowship time that it was. And then even like stuff the compound, like we're doing hangout times from 12 to 3 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so folks are welcome to come by there. I mean, I know, a lot of people work and this is just the middle of their day, but like those things are open, and we're trying to get back into some dinners and some stuff like that at the compound. We've kind of paused just because of the numbers and not wanting to get overcrowded. And so, I mean, I would say, it stinks, but kind of opportunities are a bit limited right now. And our hope is obviously in the spring-ish, whenever this mess passes or subsides to a degree, is the opportunities. And then I would say in a normal landscape, I would just say like come to the compound. If it's for Sunday meal at 3 o'clock every Sunday, when our hangout times hopefully get expanded, our dinners and movie nights and football games and all that stuff is just, when that stuff's rolling and normal, like that's posted on the website, there's a calendar, and it's an open invitation to everybody to come be a part. And so that's what I would say is when things kind of get a little bit more back to normal, it would be keeping tabs on that schedule, compound schedule that we keep updated on our website. Just for right now, we're trying to limit numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Somebody had asked a little bit earlier about the cost of Urban Purpose sending an individual through rehab, and I'm more so all the rehabs are going to be different price points, so that's a little bit hard to pin down. But something I did want to talk about was what it looks like while somebody is in rehab. Mm-hmm. And I know one of the rehabs that we use specifically, they have a very itemized list of things that you need to come in with. And so we always supply, like when they're trying to get clean or withdrawing for a couple days, we'll always go to the store and we'll get every item that we can on that list and then get them packed up, get them ready to go. And then also from there, being a resource for them throughout the 6, 9, 12, however many months they're in there, by continuing to get things they need. Because, rehab's like a wonderful place for somebody to be that needs to be, a little bit isolated and just functioning on themselves. But it is nice to have some of those things that you're used to on the outside. And so we've definitely tried to help people with that. So for me, it's a little bit more than just that initial price point. It's the driving out to wherever the rehabs are to visit them all the time, or the interviews to get into the rehabs, and then the going once a month. Or the last girl that we had in rehab, I think we ended up having a budget that's what we could let her go to Walmart and buy something with or do something with. And that just, after 12 months in rehab, that adds up after a while. So it's not necessarily a one-time spending cost on rehab. I feel like it's a continual thing. And then, but all the rehabs that Mark even mentioned earlier, they're all different price points. Some are free and then some cost a little bit more. And I don't think that is a make or break for any of them. We're definitely willing to, if we feel like one is a better fit for somebody, sometimes somebody needs a longer stretch in rehab, and sometimes those are more expensive, and we're willing to do that. And then sometimes somebody needs to just get out of town, and that can be a higher price point too. It just really depends on what the person needs and what the rehab it's available and has to offer, and if they're taking people even at that moment, which sometimes can be hit or miss too. So just wanted to touch on that.
Somebody made a comment, never missed a meal in 11 years. That's amazing, and I would echo that. It is, and I know it sounds like bragging on ourselves, but I think it's amazing, and we're proud of that. And it was pouring down rain last Sunday. It's been sleeting. It's been a lot of things. There's been a pandemic. There's been a lot of curveballs over the years. But we've never missed one. Not planning on it. And so a bus would have to take all three of us out at the same time for that to happen. So, and that just goes to the consistency. You have to create consistency, because when Jim and I first started going under the bridge and getting to know these guys, they thought we were the police. I've said this story. I'll kind of use this little story, but Jim's got the biggest truck in Birmingham, and it's black, and we both like wearing black sunglasses most of the time, and so I think they thought we were cops coming back there to spy on them. And you got to get past that. I say all that to say it's funny, but it's you got to get past that skepticism. They've seen a whole lot of people and be flash in the pans and say that they want to help or say they want to do something, whether they care about it, and they never see them again. And so they think, wow, these folks that are coming down here, I'll just get what I can get, and I'll never see them again. They'll never see me, so I might as well hustle, scheme, get whatever I can get. And so you do something same time, same place. We've bounced around a few like locations and stuff, but for the most part, consistency for 11 years. I mean, then it establishes the level of trust. Then you put the compound and those times in, and it's just trust. Like you're laying the foundation of trust over time, because it's not about it's not just like this way you get somebody clean. Like you develop trust over time, a friendship over time, and then when the crap hits the fan, they come and they call you back because they know you give a crap about them because you've been there every day, every week for the past however many times. And the last time the crap hit the fan, you answer the phone. And that's what I meant at the close there in the video when I said you don't get kicked out of Urban Purpose. We're not a program. We're not. Yeah, there's not a lot of entry. This is how you get into Urban Purpose, or whatever. We get phone calls a lot. People say, how can I apply to your program? It's like, you can come have coffee with us. That's how you apply. And so, that's just it, or come hang out with us. And so, but that consistency is incredibly important, and it's why we've stayed committed to that. And piggybacking a little bit off what Rachel said earlier, just about the early days, a lot of times, like our city was different. I mean, if you're from Birmingham, Birmingham, if you think back to Birmingham in 2009, downtown, and what Birmingham, like downtown looks like now, is totally different. So the homeless honestly had a lot more like free reign of downtown back then. You could just drive down with a cooler of water and find people all over the place. And now there's spots, but it's less, And so that's part of the reason why having the compound is so important. So you can have your own space that nobody can kick you out of, tell you you're trespassing, anything like that. And it becomes a refuge. But going under the bridges and certain places are pretty frowned upon nowadays. And so, and you'll see them, they'll still congregate, they'll get a spot, they'll congregate there for a while, and then they'll get run off after a while and cycle through. But yeah, it was a lot easier back then to just go kind of roam the streets and hang out and build relationships with people. And so that's been part of the compound, has just created that space even more.
I'll ask you this question, Mark. How do things change for y'all and for the folks you're working with as they go on this sort of journey, in particular the cycle of rehab and relapse? How do you navigate that feeling of failure someone may experience?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot. That's heavy. I mean, I think, so you put yourself in that person's position. Maybe if you watch the video, there's a lot of shame that comes, like, they're ashamed. They don't love like the life that they're living. And so when they fail, it's just kind of like, it's another failure, And so they assume that you're going to be mad at them. You're not going to want to talk to them. And listen, we do get mad at people and get frustrated and have arguments and all sorts of things because that's what you do with your friends. But it's not in the sense of like, go away, or you screwed up and so like, how dare you, or, look what you like squandered. But just trying to approach it from like, you screwed up. You made a mistake. Like, we're still here. And it's not from a sense of like, so we can just keep doing things the same way. Accountability, has to tighten up. Maybe access to the money that they're making has to tighten up. Things like that we have to, just things that we do on a day-to-day basis with people we're working with. We have to tighten the reins a bit. But it's never like it just go away, right? It's always like, you're welcome here. And I think there's been so many times where people have assumed we're coming to like kick them out of somewhere or send them on their way, and it's just like, how do we move forward? And I think a lot of times they're pretty shocked by that and not expecting it. It's hard for them to process it. Like, why are you like? They don't understand. Like, it's a different way of approaching it, like forgiveness and like still loving them through these mistakes and still walking with them, still being tough on them, those kind of things. It's just a different paradigm. And so it can be honestly like very hard to explain to people and for them to like to get, And so, yeah, I don't know if I'm answering that question. It's a tough, I mean, it's tough. And I think, like I said, early on, I think I had more like of a sense of failure when things wouldn't go right. Like we've like internalized that. Like what did we do wrong? How did we fail? How will people from the outside, like, looking at the organization, like judge us for this person making a mistake? And just over time, like you learn that you can't see things that way, and don't really give a rip what people think about you, and you just know you're doing what's right, and like keep moving forward. And yeah, I'm rambling, I guess, but I don't know if I'm answering that.
Yeah.
But it's tough. It's not the easiest thing to explain to someone that's never experienced that. Like, you're loved, you're forgiven. We're going to change a few things, but you're still welcome here. That's a paradigm shift, and it's a hard one sometimes. Sometimes they run because that freaks them out. I think a lot of times they're so much more comfortable in the chaos that when there's like peace and forgiveness and love, like it's like they sometimes will run from that. Oftentimes come back, but initially run because it freaks them out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think you for sure answered it. I think the only thing that I would add that is probably just reiterating things that you've already said, but is that I think just the more like human you can make people feel that struggle with something like addiction, the better. Addiction is one of those sins or negative things or bad things, whatever you want to call it, that is like a blatantly obvious, like, what is it, the scarlet letter on your chest? There's no way of like hiding that really. And so a lot of people that are in that lifestyle or have struggled with that in the past, they feel like their failures are worse than anyone else's failures. And although like I could never compare my life to somebody who has an addiction to the level that a lot of people we work with, but I can empathize with them to the extent of like, I set out to do things all the time and I don't follow through. I set out and say, tomorrow I'm going to start running every day, or tomorrow I'm not going to eat sweets for 3 weeks. My husband and I are actually on that kick right now, and I'm pretty sure I'll break like tomorrow. But like that, in that sense, like I so minimally understand, like I fail at things all the time that I say I'm not going to do, in that level of addiction in comparison to the level of addiction that they've been in for 5, 10, 20, 30 years, to make them feel like, yeah, I see you. I know. I cannot even imagine what it would be like to say no to what you're saying to literally completely change your lifestyle. When I can't even change like one habit that I'm trying to. So yeah, just to bring their like failures or their disappointments or disapproval of their family members or of us or whoever it is back to just like level playing field is kind of what we've talked about with the compound too, of just like, we get it to whatever degree we can get it, we get it. I think that is something that we've tried to like work through people with too, that I think has been helpful, not to minimize it to them, but to let them know like we don't view them differently. We don't view this as like a world shattered. It's sad, and it's upsetting, and it's more so upsetting to the addiction itself than it is to the person, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think like one thing that just I thought of piggybacking that is just, I think about myself and like I guess maybe even things more serious than just like I'm going to start running, or I'm going to start eating better or whatever, like sin that I struggle with, that I give in, that I truly want. Because let me back up. I think a lot of people see this and they think, well, that's what they want to do. They want to be homeless. They want to do drugs. Like they don't care about anything else. And it's just like, think about a sin that you struggle with on a consistent basis or have over the years. Did you want to do it all the time? Like, was it burnt? Like, there are plenty of times I think we can relate to like, I don't want to do this. I want to kill this sin. And then we still struggle with it. And we hate that we struggled with it. Like, we hate that we gave into that temptation. We hate that we acted that way or did that thing or whatever. Like, we can all relate to that. And so I just think the difference is it's not so externally destructive for everyone to see. But I think we can all put ourselves in those shoes. And then how does the Lord see us when we fail? How does he look at us when we screw up? And if we're we are all believers that trust Jesus and believe in like his unconditional love and forgiveness. And so how does he see me when I screw up? And then if I'm called, and Jim's called, Rachel's called to be Christ-like, then how do we see someone else's screw up? Like, it doesn't mean you're flippant with it. I don't think that the Lord is flippant with our sin. But he doesn't turn his back on us. He always allows us to come home. And so that's the thing. There's always a way to come home. And if we can show that to them, and then, I'll obviously say, like, this is not us. This is not, like, we do not see you or see people because anything good in us, but it's because of what Christ has done for us, and point them towards that. Because I always think about, like, sin I struggle with. Like, when I get frustrated, because I do. I get frustrated with people I'm working with. I can't believe the mistakes. Whatever. And I have those moments. I think, like, how does the Lord see me when I screw up? And I try and put myself, if I can't relate to relapsing off heroin, I can relate to relapsing on fill in the blank sin, and it's the same freaking thing. And so, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the last question I saw, but somebody asked where is our compound and our Sunday meal. Well, where is our compound and the Sunday meal? So our compound is at on a block 2nd Avenue North and 14th Street North, right? Is that right? And yeah, if you want information about that, please feel free to email us, reach out to us. What?
It's 1315 2nd Avenue North.
Oh, I can give you the address. I didn't know if I could or not. 1315 2nd Avenue North is the exact address. It's a little bit confusing to get into. But reach out to us, email us if you have any questions about information that you're wanting. This question specifically was about talking to homeless people that you run into about where we are and what we do. That's our address, but we can send you information about times that we're there and things that you can tell people about what we do and what we can offer. And if they want specific help, or if they just want somewhere to go, we can offer both of those. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And then on top of that, I would say anybody in the Birmingham area, if you find yourself around downtown often, live downtown, work downtown, play downtown, whatever it is, it's good to know just some areas that that homeless people will be accepted, and there will be resources and things for them. And there is a good bit of that downtown that we are aware of and that we would love to share and offer, obviously, as well as whatever else you're wanting to do or feel led to do for the person in that moment. But it is really good to, I've had some people tell me, oh, I was nice because I knew I could tell them to go here. Or if they were close to Southside, I could tell them that this area serves breakfast and this area serves lunch. And it's just sometimes good to know if that's something you're interested in. So please feel free to reach out, because we'd be more than welcome to help with those things.
And this isn't a question that's come through here, but it's a question we get all the time. It's just like, Rachel kind of talked about this, but what do I say to a homeless person? And if they ask me for something or like whatever, what do I do? And one thing I like to say is, yes, tell them about our meal, and then tell them if it works for your schedule or whatever you got going on. But is like, there's a group that serves a meal at 1315 2nd Avenue North. Some people that I know that I want you to meet, and I will meet you there. Like, if you want to get involved and know how to, I get it. It might just need to be you just point somebody in the right direction. But if you want to get involved and care for, love someone that you see that's struggling, like that's prompted, like the Lord prompts that in your heart, then say, like, 1315 2nd Avenue North, 3 o'clock on Sunday, I will meet you there, and then I'll introduce you to Mark or Jim or Rachel. And I think that's a great way to get started and kind of start developing a bit of a friendship. And then talk to them. You're going to come to the compound when we do X, Y, and Z. And it can go from there, but that's a great way to like kickstart something with somebody you see that's struggling. So I'm going to give some space for any more questions that anybody wants to come through. Ask them now. I'll say this: if you just joined us, and if you missed the premiere of the video, it is on our website, urbanpurpose.org/2020. You can watch a replay now, and so that will stay up there. It's not going anywhere. So carve out about 14 minutes and sit down and give that a watch. So if you missed it, it's up. It's ready to go. Shout out to Caitlin. I don't know if y'all saw the video that we posted of her the other day, just talking about, she's been involved. If you got the print piece in the mail, like that, she was super involved in that, and she does not live in America. She lives far away and is up in the middle of the night running tech support to make sure everything goes well. So, website's up and running. Check that out. And then, the video, we asked for money at the end, so I'm not ashamed of asking for money. We need money to support us. And so if you consider giving, like for a year-end donation, I know it's Giving Tuesday. We've never really been huge on pumping that, but Giving Tuesday or just the rest of the year, a year-end contribution, it goes to the things we're talking about, towards like our jobs program, mental health care, everything we do at the compound, our women's transitional homes, all the things that we've got, that we've talked about. Those things aren't free, and they cost money, and it's because you guys' incredible support over the years. I mean, to sit back and think that we've been supported and been able to do this as full-time jobs for the last 11 years is amazing, and it's because of the Lord's work through folks like you guys in making that possible. And so to say we're thankful for you is an understatement. And so, as the year closes down and you need a tax write-off, urbanpurpose.org/2020, you can give at some point between now and the end of the year. So it doesn't look like there's any more questions coming through. I want to everybody say, Stosh, this was a random idea. So Stosh does a lot of our video, or all of our video work. We don't have anybody else, Stosh, that we're side gigging behind your back. And Caitlin, who does a lot of the branding and print and design work. I remember we had a phone call a couple, 6 weeks ago. It wasn't that long ago. And I pitched this random idea, and it morphed into this video. And the idea grew, I got more excited, but I also got more and more freaked out by the time crunch we were on to pull this off. And we pulled it off, and I'm pretty freaking proud of it. And they're amazing, Stosh and Caitlin. And so, they pulled it off, and I just barked out ideas, and they made them come to life. And so, it was awesome. So appreciate you guys, and we're going to shut this down. So appreciate you tuning in. Check out the video and share it. Like if you liked it and it was good, share it with your family, your friends. Say, look at these guys and check out what they do and learn a little bit more about us. So thank you guys. Do I shut it down?